This hour from Libya. Saif Gaddafi, one of the sons of deposed leader Muammar Gaddafi, has been sentenced to death along with 8 others by a court. He'll be executed by firing squad after being convicted of war crimes during the 2011 uprising. The trial was held during a state of lawlessness across Libya, where rival militias have been fighting for power since Muammar Gaddafi was overthrown. Well, reporter Belle True covered the Middle East and North Africa uprisings at the time. She joins me on the phone now. Belle, bring us up to speed, if you can, on the developments in the past hour.
Well, I've just spoken to the lawyers of Muammar Gaddafi's son, Saif al-Islam, and the other main officials, including Gaddafi's last Prime Minister, Baghdadi al-Mahmoudi. And he told me that among the 9 that have been sentenced to death is Colonel Gaddafi's former spy chief and brother-in-law, Abdullah Sanusi, his last Prime Minister, as I said, Baghdadi al-Mahmoudi, and the head of intelligence, Abu Zaid Dauda. Now, he said to me, he called the trial a sham, as he said that the judges had been operating under duress. The trial is taking place in Tripoli, the capital, which has been held by a coalition of armed forces and Islamist-leaning politicians called Libya Dawn since last summer. On the eve of the session of the trial, the country's official Minister of Justice, who's operating in kind of self-imposed exile in the east, condemned it, the whole legal hearing, as illegal, and claimed also that the lawyers and the judges were acting under duress from this militia. So it's a little bit of a chaos at the moment. What we do know is Saif al-Islam is still not in Tripoli. He's being held in Zintan, some 140 kilometers southwest of the capital. So he's not under threat of being executed by the firing squad. But Colonel Gaddafi's former officials are, as they are being held in Tripoli.
What do you believe happens, Belle? Because he is being held in absentia. How can this actually be carried out by shooting squad if it's 2 rival factions, one holding him, one wanting to sentence him?
Well, that's exactly the confusion that we're facing now in Libya. As you rightly said, Saif al-Islam is being held by a militia in Zintan that supports the internationally recognized government that's against those militias that are holding the capital where the hearing took place. So at the moment, he's stuck between these 2 armed groups, and it's unlikely that the Zintanis who are holding him will hand him over, particularly, as I said, they are pro-government, and the official government has condemned this trial as illegal. So for the moment, he's in relatively safe hands in this area southwest of the capital, and we'll have to see, what will happen in the next few days and whether, a new trial will start or whether he will be handed over to the officials in the capital.
Okay, that is Belle True speaking to us, bringing us up to date with the latest developments from there. Thank you very much for that. A lot of news coming in this hour, of course. Just breaking about the news that Saif Gaddafi has been sentenced to death by firing squad. A number of other members, indeed, of the government in 2011, when the revolution began, the uprising in Libya, have also been sentenced. We are waiting just for initial news as to who, as well as Saif Gaddafi, has been sentenced to death. Okay, right after the verdict, we in fact talked to one of Saif Gaddafi's lawyers. He told us that from the very beginning there was no hope for justice in this trial. Take a listen.
It's clearly a complete show trial in respect to all of the defendants, and the Libyan Minister of Justice himself has condemned the trial as completely illegitimate. It's basically trial by militia. The judges there are under the complete control of armed militia who are running the Al-Habba detention facility and running the trial. There should be some appeal process, but as to what that involves, I don't know, and there's no reason to think that it would be any genuine legal process either. As I said, the militia are in control of the whole process, and so there's no liberty really of the judges to act as judges. The prosecutor and defence lawyers aren't able to do any proper job. I don't know if you know, the prosecution didn't call prosecution witnesses. They just relied on confessions which were coerced, by torture. Defence teams were allowed to bring 2 witnesses, I think, who didn't have protective measures. And so, in fact, there's no way defence witnesses could testify in any safety. And all this happening in Tripoli under, complete insecurity, and where there are killings every day, and there's absolutely no scope, no possibility for any sort of a fair trial in Tripoli.